Hey class, since we finished up the main floor framing, we might as well do the second floor if you have one. So again, that's kind of the choice you have to make. This house is rather large, so let's go into the upper level floor framing here then. And let me save my work here for a while. Let's kind of take a look at what we've got to work with. The upper floor that I did does not fill the whole house, so I did not take all 9,000 square feet. This is the profile that I am working with here for that upper floor. So it does have some different jogs and intakes there, and I'm gonna have to. I definitely know I cannot span this distance. So if we measure from here across to the next wall on the lower floor below, so you're seeing the main floor below, that's 25 feet, way beyond my 18. So I've got to break this up. My bearing wall that we have is this one right here, and that might be of some help there just a little bit. This is the bearing wall here. So if we go vertical, that should meet our needs. So again, from here to here, yep, easy to do there on that. And then got to do a little interesting work around here. Now, right here, here's my wall, but my floor extends over it. You can extend your floor out over the foundation floor or the bearing floor by 3 feet. That's called a cantilever. So there's a little bit of a cantilever here that I can utilize. And so the framing on this will be very similar. Now, I did not use the full bay. Excuse me. I didn't use the full bay window. So it is kind of an odd shaped framing plan here. But I think it'll be good to see what we're going to do here with some beams. So we're going to start off with the beams we've already sized. So structure, beam, and it's going to be almost exactly the same process that we did before. And then go ahead and use my 5.5 inch, just because it's a little beefy here. And I'm going to carry that. Ooh, that is a long distance, 30 feet. It should be okay at 30 feet. From here, 28 feet, we're fine. To here, and then they carry it again over to this wall. Now, I can get away with that. It's broken into two different beams, but I could do one long beam because this wall can support it. Now, I usually don't like doing it that way. Mainly, I like to keep it smaller because it's hard to put them into place. If you have them too long, you need cranes, and that's extra cost. So I try not to do that. Then we've got the bearing wall here. And let's see, what else would I need? Let's see, what's the distance here from the bearing wall to this? That's fine, that's 12. All right, we'll worry about the stairs when we get to it. All right, so let's go ahead and start laying this out now with, oops, I did it again. Got to check my work, and I've got to drop them down. Now, I'm pretty sure I do not have it in there anymore because I've been doing some other stuff the last day or two. So I need to put in my negative 7.5, that's 7.6, 7.5, and make that a negative. And it does get a little tricky making negatives. And then, ooh, I did feet. That's not good. Make sure you put the inches in, because if you leave the inches out, it goes to feet, as we learned earlier. Then highlight, Control C, Control V. All right, fix that one. And do the same thing. It's exact same floor, so this makes it easy. When you use things that are consistent, we call that modular, and it makes things just a lot easier to work with. All right, back to structure, beam, change it now back to our plywood web joist, 11/7/8. And we're going to start right here off the beam, coming across. And notice when we get a little closer, it has better line weight to it, a little better squelch quality. So kind of fun. Now modify my start points offset and my end point offset. So there, and they're back to, now on this one, I'm going to do it a little differently. We did offsets on the last one. This time I'm going to measure and do something different. I'm going to measure from this point where it's at across, and I've got basically 28. We'll go 28 feet. Now that means I'm gonna have to do some math, and I'm gonna have to take you can use a calculator on this if you want. That's up to you how you want to do your math in your head or not. But I need to take 28 feet, and my calculator is not. There it is. I need to take 28 feet and then multiply that by 12. So now I'm in inches. That's going to be 336 inches. And then divide that by 16 inches. That gives me 21. I need 21 of these. Now, to shortcut this, because these are all going to be, they got to go longer. I really should have thought of this floor plan a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit longer. I'm going to have to change that. So hold tight on that. We're going to go back on that in just a minute. I'm going to put these in the way I did before, just at the offsets, because they only go to here, and that is slightly problematic in lots of ways. There's no way to support those that framing. No way to support it at all. So let me go to my main separate floor frame and see what I can do to make an adjustment here real quick. That's called learn on the fly. That wall is not over anything bearing, and it has to be. So I'm going to shift my plan. This is going to mess up some things later, but it's one of those things that's just got to happen. So I'm going to do an offset and pull that wall over. Ooh, boy, that just changes a lot of things. It really does kind of hurt when you catch yourself in a mistake like this, but shift that. And now I got to adjust the floor, edit the boundary. I'm not sure why I missed that. That's kind of I don't do that very often. But when I do make a mistake, it's a good mistake. So that floor, I need to go to core, face of core, and then bring that over. All right, that changes it. Now, you see how these floor joists look coming up through the floor? That's what I'm trying to avoid. So, all right, let's finish that off. They should disappear now and move back to the framing. Boy, I wish I would have caught that earlier. In fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take these out just because I don't want to redo everything more than I have to. Sometimes going backwards is going forwards in life. Okay, put that there. Yeah, fix my issues. All right, then I'm going to offset again. Now I can go back and do what I was applying to, because now they're all the same length in this section right here. So yay, so I need 21 of them. Now, we've seen the offset. I'm going to use a different thing called the array. The array is this little guy. The hotkeys are AR. When I click on the array, it usually works best if you don't start with a command. At least for this one. Select the item you want to array, and then array. And then it kicks into gear. Now, what it wants to do is I need 21 of these, and I need to move it to its last spot. Okay, it did not like that. So I need 21. And I'm going to start here where I'm at, and I'm going to move it over to here. And there's 21 of them. Now, these are all one element now. By doing it that way, if I move one, I move them all. That's just how it is. So that is the drawback to it. They're done very, very quickly, but if I'm going to change them or anything, I can't just change one. I have to change them all. They're all equally spaced, and they fit the area. But you do have to do the math with it. Now I've got to do this next area. I've got my beam there. I can't just, well, I could. Let's try and see if we can just do a copy. If I take this and go from here over to here, so I can use a copy, because anytime I can save time and money, that's always good. And place that one. So there's one all by himself. I'll do the math again, so then do a little measure. And we'll go from, this will be two different sets. That way it's not quite so bad to work with. I'll go 17 feet. So again, 17, multiply that by 12, and divide that by 16. And I need 12.75. I'm going to do 12. So I'm going to select it. And I'm going to get away with that because if I move this over just a little bit, because they're kind of close right there. And then I do my array, and I change it to 12. And I'm going to go from here to here. Boom, there we go. And that takes care of that part of the framing. I won't be able to do that on the lower half of this floor, primarily because it's just not uniform. And so I've got lots of weird things happening down here. And so I'm going to have to do them individually. So back to our structural beam, draw one in here, just off of the wall. So I'm just going to pick right here to the wall, but go to the center wall. Adjust the start and end offsets. Just real quick, like, go to the offset tool. And again, it's just, there's parts of this you could do the array on. And if you want to practice that some more, I'd encourage you. Using arrays is always good. It does have its drawbacks in that editing does get a little bit precarious on it. And we go to there. Now, at this point, I've got my cantilever. So this last one is going to be reduced back up to here. And don't worry about being not, it did not like that at all. That's kind of why it should not have done that. It kind of connected itself to the array above, and that's not a good thing. There we go. Join that. Kind of joined itself together. All right, now it's here. So back to the offset. Nope, check the work first. Hey, I got lucky. I always kind of feel good when things work, because reality is they don't always work. That's not how life is. You have to fix things. And fixing is not always as easy as you'd like it to be. All right, now we're at where things get a little more complex. So what this square here is there's a hole in the floor because I need to vent the furnace that's downstairs all the way up to the roof. And so I can't put any framing there, which is a little, it's okay. I mean, technically I can if I space it correctly, but that means I got to think about it. All right, so we're going to keep working across here. My floor goes down to here. What is that space? So I should have these all memorized, but you know, we're good. So good, always good. March there, across there. Adjust this one. So I don't have quite the number of beams that I had down below, but it's still pretty good. Union. You just want the union with that one above. That's the result of that being an array. It wants to become part of the array. And that gets a little annoying if you let it bother you. Just don't let it bother you. Then you're fine. It used to bother me a lot when I would do things like that, because then I'd go through and I'd delete the array thinking I was being in control of things, and that's not how it works. One more right there, and that's going to be the stair. Now I've got to shorten it, so this next one gets shorter. And we grab that endpoint, and it slides back up to the wall. And that one did not want to become part of the puppet family, so but it did shift its angle, so we'll fix that. And we'll march our array again. So the frame plans really aren't that complicated. You're just showing something so that the engineer has a way of knowing what your intent is. And once he's got an idea, then he can work with it. Now, I can leave this here, and let me explain why. This area, and I'm going to measure for you, is 16 inches by just over 20 inches. What that's going to do is I can still get ductwork up there, The thing that has to go up to the roof is really the exhaust pipe from the gas furnace, and that's a 2-inch pipe. It's also the ductwork to bring up the heating and cooling ductwork. So it's going to come up, it's going to get to the floor of the second floor, and then it's going to stop that larger 12 by 12 air duct. And so I can pull that off because I got room to fit it. And I really don't know which direction the contractor's going to lay these out. I mean, he could start from this wall and go to the left. If he starts from the other wall and goes to the right, it's going to look like this. So if he shifts it, then it might be a little more complicated. But otherwise, it's going to be just fine. Now, if I'm really worried about it, I can take another, and this way I don't need a beam. I just need the floor joist. I can run one there, and again, adjusting the start and end points. And this is probably the more practical way of doing it rather than hope someone knows your intent in life. And then I'm going to copy that. So not an offset, just a copy. You could do an offset, but I'm just going to copy it 3 inches. So there's 2 of them there, just to strengthen up. Take these 2 that are going through my duct space and shorten them so they end at the double floor joists. And that will leave that opening and have a way to support it. So that's one way of doing it. All right, there's the second floor, all framed. Go to work.